Good evening and welcome back to the stream, guys. Today we are going to be learning some chess again. We have some study session, but today instead of openings we are learning some positional chess, and today we are learning how to use our chess pieces. I will just double check my settings here and see if everything is working fine. Hopefully the chat is working here as it should. Let me just check here. Is it showing or not? It should be showing. I will just quickly double check here if everything is working. If everything is working just fine. From what I see, it is, except the chat. I don't know why chat is not working. It's just okay. You will have to give me a few seconds, please. And please leave a like. I don't know why the chat is not working. Streamlabs. Streamlabs, let me just check what is the problem here, why the chat is not working. Let me just join here. Chat box, let me just see here. Why the chat box is not showing, I don't know why. For some reason it doesn't. And I don't know why, it should be showing. Just a sec, please, just a sec. Hi there, hi Chester323, welcome to the stream. If you like, you can already start solving the puzzles. Today's we have 5 bishop exercises, so the point is to find the best move. The best idea here, we are trying to get one of our bishops to the best possible squares. That is the main idea of today's stream. And today's basically, today we are learning this. If something changes, I will let you know. You will have to excuse me, I just have to see why chat box is not working. I will have to... I will just quickly just check here. And you, Chester, can already tell me your suggestions. I believe I already know what could be solution here. I believe I already know, but you feel free to give me your insights. I will just check here. I don't know why the chat is not showing, and it must show. Let me just see here, chat box. See, we will copy. Chester says, not seeing much, maybe offer queen trade on g5. Yes, this is one of the moves, definitely, but I don't know if you heard me, but the question is that how can we develop our bishops? One of our bishops. For example, we can now take a look that maybe our white bishop is not perfect, but our black bishop is definitely not looking good. Now, what my thing is here, what I'm thinking about is that this must be a solution, is that probably a4 is the right move. I will check right now and see. Yes, a4 is the right move. Now we will go rook to a1 here to attack this bishop, and now we will develop our own bishop. This was played in the game Stein-Petrosyan in Moscow 1961. Amazing idea by White Stein. So we have bishop takes on a4. Let's see how the game continued. Rook to a1, b5, bishop a3, queen to d7, rook to f2 to defend. Okay, rook there, double upping rooks. Okay, and queen to d1 with the idea to go Bishop h5, one of the ideas. Queen to b1, then queen to b4 with the idea to give a checkmate. Rook h6, bishop c1, rook h7, and bishop takes on a6 is what followed. In case f takes on e6, queen g6 is very decisive. Now this knight is hanging. If the knight moves, there is a rook to f8 check. And wow, this is how this beautiful game ended. Wow, that's incredible, incredible. Was my second choice. Okay, nice, Chester, nice. So you noticed it. Now I have to apologize. For some reason my chat box is not working. I don't know what is the deal with the chat box. It should be showing, but for some reason it is not. I don't know why. Let me just see here. So you saw this. Let me just see here. I'm really annoyed right now. Why is it not showing? For some reason the chat box is not working. Okay, but we solved this. We found a nice idea here. Here is another idea. Black to move. We are playing as black and we need to find a way to activate our bishop. Let's see now what could be the best possible moves. Our bishop scope is very limited. Now obviously one of the ideas is to go bishop to f8, then bishop to c4. I see that this diagonal must be a good way to go. I don't see anything faster here. f3, f6 doesn't work because this is a free pawn. And what else? I don't see anything else. Maybe rook to d7 as the first move here. Maybe something like this to open up the space for the king. And that is the only way I see it here. So that is the way. That is the only way I see it here. Let's try bishop f8 and see alternative. So there is another move here. So this is not a mistake, but this is not the best move. Let's see what in position, what the player actually played in this position. Maybe rook to d6. Let's see. Okay, rook to d6 first move. Bishop f8 and bishop c4. Okay, and now how do we continue? Okay, we simply block. Yes, okay, this was easy. So rook e6, we are preparing a maneuver bishop f8, c5 on d4. Note that the immediate bishop f8 is also possible, as observed by Tim. Okay, as observed by some person who analyzed this. So rook d3, rook e6 first to open up the scope, and we protect the d6 square. Rook d3, bishop f8, rook h to d1, bishop c5. After queen to e3, we continue bishop e7, rook h to d8, and queen to f8 is the with the same idea. Bishop to c4, bishop to c5, of course here. So we have the same idea. Okay, bishop c5, queen e2, bishop d4, king to b1, and c5. Okay. Now let's see here. Now this is a slightly opened position, so let's see what can we do here, and which of our bishops is the most problematic. Maybe trying to open up the scope for this white bishop, but how? I mean, both bishops look completely fine here. I'm not sure what could be the solution here. Let's see. Maybe b3 and bishop to a3. Maybe this bishop, but this opened this long scope for this other bishop, so maybe I'm going with b3, I guess. Is this a good move? No, it's not. So it's not a good idea. I was thinking about bishop to a3. Although this bishop is also good on this here square. This white squared bishop, how can we open it? Another move that comes to mind is bishop f4. It is not again. And if we take, what could be the move here? What could be the move here? I'm still thinking. I'm just gonna try and do something else. What could be the solution here? Still trying to figure out my knight c to b5 is a bit tempting, you say, Chester. Knight c to b5 is a bit tempting. Well, actually, let's give it a try. Knight c to b5. No, it's not. Yeah. But what else? Where could this bishop be better? I'm not sure. I'm not looking right now, and I don't really get it. Where this bishop could be better. This bishop here. This bishop seems fine. The other bishop seems fine as well. I don't know. Could we maybe trade and then somehow... No. Okay. b4 is the recommended move. Okay, b4. Wow, I couldn't find it. This is just too risky of a sacrifice. Okay, and now what? And now we go this. Okay, wow, this was really hard. b4, preparing b4, b5 to soften up the long diagonal for the bishop on g2. So this is a positional sacrifice. And after bishop takes on c4, computer says, author says that knight e4 was preferable. After knight takes, f takes, knight takes on e6, queen takes, queen c2, rook f to e8, bishop e3, queen, knight to c7, and rook f to d1. White is better thanks to his bishop pair. Okay. Bishop c4 was a mistake. b5, opening up, c takes on b5, knight d takes on b5. If bishop takes on b7, b4, and black has some counterplay, so we have b5, c b5, knight d takes on b5, rook to d8, bishop a3. Wow, one more piece into the play now. This looks much better here for white. Knight picks up on d6, queen e6, and bishop a3, knight e8 is less clear. Okay, so this is not recommended to immediately take. After bishop a3, d5, knight to d6, queen e5, knight takes on c4, d takes on c4, and queen c2. Game continued with knight to c5, bishop takes on c5, which is a mistake, queen c5, rook b5, queen d6, and white lost a significant part of his advantage. Much stronger was knight to a4 here instead of this trade, so offering this trade with a bishop pair b6, knight takes bc5, and queen takes on c4 with a check with a huge advantage. Okay, very interesting position. Very interesting study. I'm not gonna lie. This was incredibly interesting. Okay, so I couldn't find this in a million years. Let's continue to the next position. It is black to play, and we need to find the strongest continuation here for black. Let's see how black should continue. How should black continue here? So we have dark squared bishop, which is unhappy here on g7. We have a c6 bishop, white squared bishop, who is, I mean, so. He's not sad, but not that happy as well. But definitely on g7, let's see how can we move this bishop to some other diagonal or some other file. This will be a very difficult task. Let's see. Bishop here. White has this weak f1 square. If we go there, what else? Bishop f6 can't work because he takes this. This is a protected square, or maybe we can take stakes. But this is probably a bishop pair, so we will not be able to take. Now let's see. I really have no idea how to continue here. This is really hard. I have no idea how to continue this game. Do we have some active sacrifice? Takes. No, this is not good. Takes. Can we go for this? No, we cannot. Okay, I thought there was some tactics there, but actually no, there is not a tactic. He can simply take with his queen and he's all right. Well, another idea that comes to mind is to go with this bishop here. This doesn't work as well. Maybe h5 though with bishop h6, but then this is a protected already, so I don't know. This is not working from what I see. From what I see, this is not working as well. Should we take? Okay, we take. And then what? How can we move this bishop? Alternative? Maybe here? No. Knight to c8. But what else is there? Hint. Bishop move. Oh, bishop to f6. Oh my goodness, bishop to f6, okay. Now maybe here? No. Where do we go with this bishop? Here? No. What else is there? Queen to d8. Hint. c6, okay. Why was this so important? We pulled away this bishop, okay. Now what? Oh, bishop d8. Wow, okay. Wow, this was hard. Okay. This was a very hard puzzle. At least for me. I don't know about you guys, but for me it was a really hard. So the whole point of this was to find a... Okay, let's go. So firstly, we have this position. So the point is, how can we move this bishop? So the point is how to activate this bishop. So we had to give up our bishop in order to clear up the f6 square. After e takes on d5, author says e4 is the best. Bishop d5, bishop d5, bishop f6 with the idea to go bishop d8 after queen to g3, or bishop g5, for example, queen to d8, bishop f6, rook f6, queen g3, c6, where the g1, a7 diagonal becomes useful for the queen. Okay, this is another way to go. Queen g3, c6, bishop b3, bishop d8, amazing, queen to d3, and bishop b6. Obviously, bishop e3 fails to knight takes on e4, where we simply take his pawn, which is undefended. Bishop b6 check, king h1, bishop e3 was preferable, queen to g4, bishop e3, if queen takes on d6, rook f2, immediately checkmating threat, rook g1 and queen g2 with mate to follow. Okay. Queen g4, bishop e3, bishop takes, queen takes, and rook to f4, with the double idea of knight takes on e4 and rook e to f8. Black is clearly better. Okay. In fact, even stronger is the intermediate knight takes on e4, where queen takes on e4 invites rook to f1 with a distraction, and this queen will fall. Wow, that's an amazing problem. Truly wonderful. Wow, that's really amazing. And let's continue to the next one. It is white to play. It is white to play. Okay, we obviously have a check. One of the most forcing ideas. Let's see if this is good for us. He goes there. We give this check. Bishop f8. Let's see. No, actually, it's not the correct move. Okay. Let's see. This dark squared bishop is doing fine. We take. We attack this one. Now let's see. In this position, everything seems so tempting. Everything seems so... everything seems so good. Let's see now what could be the best continuation here. Takes. I mean, bishop d3 is one of the moves that I see that could be maybe slightly better. Bishop d3 maybe. What else is there? I mean, maybe pushing some f4. Maybe a g4. Let's see what good gives us a g4. G4 knight jumps. I don't know, maybe bishop d3. No, it's not bishop d3. Maybe g4. Not even that. I mean, this is the only... No. Oh my goodness, bishop f1. I couldn't find this move if it was the last move. Oh my god, goodness, bishop. No, okay. What, bro? This? Okay. 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 Okay, wow, this was hard, bro. This was really hard, because usually the most moves are In these positions, you just want to take, you want to give checks, but it's actually not that easy. Bishop f1 was the main move here. Wow. So we have to be aware of this kind of moves. Bishop f1. Okay, he says redirecting the passive bishop to h3 c8 diagonal where it complicates black's long castle. Bishop takes on f6 is not good, gf6, and bishop f1 is less exact due to knight d4. Intending to bishop h3 face with f5. So okay, this is definitely not the way to go. I'm still annoyed by why my chat box is not working. I'm so annoyed, but it is what it is. So bishop f1, now he cannot castle. We go knight to d4, he attacks our pawn. If knight takes on g3, rook h8 check, bishop f8, bishop h3 attacking the queen, queen d6, queen e1 attacking the knight, knight g goes on h5 and f4, destroying the black's defense, opening up the position, and it's black king is in ruins. Well, after long castle, bishop takes on f6, gf6, bishop h3, rook h8, queen d1 to protect this rook here, king d8, and bishop g4. The pin will soon take its toll. Yes, this pin will be too much to handle for black. That's how you should go. So knight to d4, f4, another game saw. The game saw rook to h8, maybe this was played in the game, bishop f8, bishop h3, queen to d6, f4, knight takes on d5, and black eventually saved the draw. Okay, so this was played in the game. So even in the game, people didn't see the main continuation of this line. But it is really hard. But it is really hard to find this. But it's good to have this idea. It is good to have this idea. So f4 first, knight f3, attacking the queen. After rook d8, queen e3, knight f5 with queen to d3, intending knight to e4, and white enjoys a really strong initiative, intending to go here. Okay, that's an amazing move, with a very good initiative here for white. Queen to e2 in the game was played. Another option is queen to e3, intending knight takes on g5 to take f takes on e5. Wow, getting make the piece under favorable circumstances. However, f takes on g5 doesn't work here because after knight takes on d5, knight takes on d5, or rook h8, bishop f8, queen takes on e5 check, knight to e7, queen c6 is the saving move here for black, and if you move your knight backwards, your rook will fall and you will simply lose your knight here. So you have to be careful, you always have to check your lines. Queen to e2 though attacks, and after knight takes, f takes on g5, knight goes on g8, knight takes on d5 doesn't work because knight takes on d5, queen c4, and queen c4 now protects this check. So we have knight to g8, rook h8, king to f8, not long castle because bishop h3 immediately wins here. How it wins though? Aha, yeah, it wins. Yeah, it wins because f5 is not a possibility because we have en passant. Okay. So king f8, bishop h3, queen e7, and a knight to e4, intending to go queen to h5 and to go queen to h7 to attack this knight. Also, knight f6 is what follows, and this is a crushing position here for white. Incredible thing. Okay, so we are going for the knight exercises now. Let's see and let's try. Let's go here. This is just a diagram from the one of the positions here. We will see now. Let me just see if everything is shown. I will just firstly check the board and see if the board is working fine. So this is just a show. So black played a6, weakening the dark squares. White firstly played bishop f1. Bishop f1 with the idea to go knight to e1 and knight to d3. Again continued with rook to c7, knight to e1. He continues his idea, and rook f to c8, knight to d3, and now knight to c6 is played. White is also much better after rook takes on c1, rook takes, queen takes, bishop e8, and queen c5 here, intending queen to a7 here, and white is much better. Okay, white is much better. Okay, so knight to c6 was played, and knight to c5 attacking the queen. Queen goes on e7, and knight takes on b7, a tactical twist. Now knight takes on d4, knight takes on b7. If rook takes on b7, then rook takes on a6. White recovers material and, more importantly, obtains two terrific passed pawns. Okay, so white will have a material plus two passed pawns, and this is a great way to continue. Brilliant. Knight to c5, queen to e7, knight takes on b7, knight takes on d4 with the idea to counter-attack. Now after rook takes on b7, okay, we already said this. Knight takes on d4, rook takes on c7, rook takes on c7, knight goes on c5. Now his knight is hanging, rook sacrifice, queen takes on d4. Of course not b takes on b takes on c5, because after knight to b3, white is able to generate a decisive passed pawn. Okay. So this is not the best, so we take this, queen takes on d4, rook c6, and now b5. A takes on b5, a6, immediately pushing for this passed pawn, rook to c8, queen b6, queen f8, and a7. In this desperate position, black resigned, because there is nothing you can do. What follows is bishop probably taking on b5, and bishop f6, and we win the game. Wow, this is an incredible really study. Okay, let's continue the next one. And now we are already going into the practice. Okay, white just played b4. Gaining some space on the queen side. Should black prevent the further advance or b5 or ignore it? That is the question now for us. This is I believe this is the same position as previously. So black played a6. We know that black played a6. We should just ignore it. And now let's see what could be the best response here for us. What could be the best response here for us? Maybe b4. Let's click next. a6 is not good. Preferable was rook to c7, and after b5, rook f to c8. With the pawn still on a7, black keeps the option to play b7, b6. Okay, in contrast, a6 leave the b6 and c5 squares seriously weakened. Bishop f1. Okay, my move is bishop f1. We know this. Rook c7, we go knight to e1. Rook goes there. We continue with this. We go knight to c5. Okay, so black play this. We go bishop f1 to open up the square. We go knight to e1. We go knight to d3, and now we go knight to c5. So once again, we have a maneuver we notice that we want to put our knight here. So what would be the best way to go for this? It would be bishop f1, knight goes on e1, and knight goes on d3 with the idea to put this knight on c5. As I mentioned, let's see if we have something else here that could be important. Knight to c6 here, knight to e1, queen e7, rook c5, followed by rook a to c1 with a clear plus. This knight may replace. Okay, so now it says often this kind of variations. Okay, let's continue to the next move. Aha, we are continuing the same study. Queen e7, we pick up this knight on b. He takes, we take the rook. He takes the pawn, we take the rook. After he takes, we retreat our knight. we take his knight, we go for b5, we go for a6, yeah, from the study, we go queen b6, and we go for a7, and he can resign. So we have a tactical strike here. He first take this pawn, we take this rook, we go knight to c5, he sacrifices, we take this knight, we go b5, we go a6, we go queen b6, and we go to a7, and we are unstoppable. So firstly we have this tactical strike with the idea to pick up this pawn with bishop a6. He takes this, we take this rook, we go knight to c5 now. By the way, I will just return a little bit and let's check something out. a6, we know this, queen b6, and a7. Now we have to check here after knight takes on d4. Now let's see, rook takes, knight takes, knight c5. After rook takes on c7, rook takes on c7, and knight c5. What if knight to b3 is played here? Let's check the computer. I think I saw something, but I don't seem to quite get it. Why this move is special. Rook takes on c5 is best. Oh no, he cannot play knight to b3. What am I thinking? Wow, I'm blind. This is a protected square. Rook to c5 is best. If b takes on c5, let's see computer evaluation. Knight to b3. Yeah, white is still better. Queen to c3. Knight takes on a1. We go for c6. Queen c7. Bishop takes on a6. Bishop e8. Bishop b5. d4. Queen takes on a1. Bishop takes on c6. Queen c1 here, and the game is over. Yeah. Now queen to a1, of course this is just a winnable position, but this was much better. Okay. Let's see the next example from the game of Garry Kasparov. Let's see, Kasparov here played white is better thanks to his sounder pawn structure and more active pieces. Kasparov now initiates a transfer of his knights to the king side, where the absence of black g6 pawn, white has left the light square loss. So firstly, knight to e2. Rook g8, c3 here, knight goes on a6, and now knight to g3, with the idea to put this knight somewhere, like on h5 or on f8. Okay, queen to f8 is played. Bothered by the knight to h5 threat, Belyavsky unpins the knight. However, bishop f8, preparing bishop e7 was better. Kasparov mentioned. Then can follow knight to c4. Knight to h5 makes less sense because of this. Bishop e7, queen to d2, king to h7, and knight to e3 here, preparing knight e to f5 to take this f5 square. Okay. At this point, knight takes on d5, knight e takes on f5. Wait, after knight takes on d5, let me just see. Okay, so he sacrifices the knight takes on d5, knight e takes on a5, and after knight and knight e4, bishop takes on e7, he takes the queen, bishop takes on d8, rook takes on, bishop takes on d8, rook takes on d8, rook 8 to d1, knight b3, bishop d3 check, king g7, knight to c4, with the double threat of bishop to c2 to grab this knight, and knight e4. Aha, putting another knight. Yeah, white is much better here. Okay. Now this is a bit, this is a very interesting. Okay, let's see. So let's see. Knight to d5, knight e takes on f5. So, okay. And what's the point of this now? If he takes this here, let me just see with the computer here, because I don't seem to understand this line. Computer recommends queen f8, but what if we take this one? Oh wow, queen h6 is a mate. Wow, I'm totally blind today. This is the main threat here. This is the checkmate threat. Wow. So let's continue. Queen to f8, knight d to f1. Kasparov continues. The other knight joins his colleague in the battle for the f5 square. Less logical is knight to f5, because after bishop ef5, then the pieces can no longer make use of this structure. Knight to h7, knight to e3, bishop f6 here played for black. Black manages to swap his bad bishop, but the problem is that f5 square problem remains. Bishop takes knight to g to f5, knight h5, and king to f2 with the idea to go rook to h1 and then pressure this king. Bishop f5, knight f5, knight f4, g3, knight h3 check, king to e2. With the rook h1 coming up, white has a huge advantage and won just a few moves later. So this is how Kasparov won his game. This is from Kasparov's game. Let's just and now we will go for this exercise here. Let's okay, we got it. White is better thanks to his sound pawn structure and more active pieces. Kasparov now initiates a transfer of his knight to the queen side. Okay, so knight to e2 is the first move. We go knight to e2, rook g8, c3 to pull away this knight. Knight to g3, queen f8 is a mistake. Knight to f1, knight goes there, we jump on e3, bishop f6, we take his bishop. And now knight g jumps on f5, knight h3, king to f2, bishop takes and knight takes. Okay, so we first start, so we notice that this f5 square is weak and we want to reroute our knight to try and contest this. We go knight to e2, we go knight to g3, no, we go first knight to f, what? Oh no, firstly we go c3, yeah, then we go knight to g3, knight to f1, knight to e3, we take, we go knight g goes on f5, a knight jumps, we go king to f2, he takes and we take with our knight. So knight to e2, c3, knight to g3, we want to take the f5 square, we go knight here, then we go knight to e3, we trade this bishop, and we go here, we go king to f2, he takes, we take, okay, c3. The knight reached his final destination. Okay, this is the end of this exercise. Let's continue to the next. Let's continue to the next exercise. In this typical French structure, in exchange for his weaknesses on e5 and e6, black has some pressure on the d4 pawn. Okay. And along the f file. His next moves might be rook a to f8 and g5, g4. Matulovic found an excellent knight maneuver. Matulovic goes knight to a4. Okay. The knight was not doing anything substantial on the c3 and he wants to put this knight on e5. So knight a4, rook a to f8. After knight takes on d4, white has prepared knight to b6 to attack, double attack, and after knight takes on f3, check, queen f3, queen g5 for example, now queen to h3. Since after rook to d8, knight d7, takes, rook c8 ends with a mate. Wow, weak back rank. So rook af to a8. We have knight to c5 attacking this bishop. Bishop retreats to c8, and now we go bishop knight to d3 with the idea to take this square on e5. Queen goes on h6 or queen to b8 is the same. Outer mentions because we have same idea. Takes with a clear advantage. Takes to the strong knight on e5. This is, by the way, an eternal knight. This knight cannot be moved from this square other than some knight challenging this knight or sacrificing an exchange, because we have white squared bishops on the board and this knight cannot be moved. Black has no time for a rook takes on f2 because his knight hangs on h5. So we have knight d to e5, we have knight takes. So knight takes on e5, rook takes on f2 is not possible because rook takes on c8 with the idea of checkmate, and this piece falls, so we have to be careful. So knight takes on e5, queen g5, and we have f3 to stop the, of course, f2 threat. G6, f3 simple but strong. Now black's kingside attack is practically over, whereas the control of c-file and the prominent knight on e5 and long-term factors in white's favor. So white has this, he threatens to take this and this, okay. G6 or knight to f4, says G3 is intending rook to c7 and queen to c2, Matulovic mentions. So G6, we have rook to c7, he continues, queen to h4, queen to d2, rook to f4 to block, rook e to c1 pressuring this bishop, rook takes on d4 and queen h6. In a hopeless position, black lost on time. Yeah, this is an amazing victory by black. Truly wonderful idea here. Let's continue to the practice. We will now practice this position here, just to see if we remember the maneuver of the knight. Okay, so we have knight to h4, knight to c5, knight to d3, knight to e5, knight takes, c3. So we have knight to h4 first, he goes there, we go here, we go knight to d3, he goes there, and now we go c3. So once again we have a knight to h4, knight to c4, knight to d3, and now we go with our knight on and we go with our knight here, we take, and now we go f3. Okay, we solved this. This was a nice position. Let's continue to the next exercise. The present structure can arise in several Sicilian variations. Usually black needs an active play in order to compensate for the weaknesses on d5 and d5 and d6. Whereas in the above position he has been left with the bad bishop. Thus white plan suggested itself, install the knight on the protected d5 square. Logical, exploiting the fact that black has no minor pieces that he can swap it off. So first knight to c3, okay, to open up knight to c2 and knight to e3 and then knight to d5 maneuver. We have b4, if queen takes on if queen c6, then knight to c2, nothing stops us, bishop g5 and knight to b4 followed by rook d1 and knight to d5, okay. On the other hand, rook to c5, rook to d1, a5 and knight to c2. The knight will choose the route e3 d5 route instead of preparatory queen to d3. Okay, so we have b4, we have c4 on the board, we have g6, we have g3 here. Another option was knight to c2, says a little bit dubious because rook c5 and knight to e3 speeding up the knight maneuver. I don't know why it gives a slight dubious sign here. I mean, the move is completely fine. I don't know why it's a dubious idea, but for some reason it is. So we continue with g3, rook c5, and rook to d1. So we don't trade the rooks. We want to go with our knight to c2, e3, and then d5. Once we install this knight, we are fine. Knight to c2, king g7. He mentions that bishop g5 fails due to, rook to d6. This is unprotected pawn. While after queen to c6, for example, queen d3, and the problem with the d6 pawn remains. So you cannot play g5, bishop g5, because you will lose a pawn. That's one of the things here in this position. Okay, so king g7 is played, queen to d3. We wanna pressure this pawn. We don't, not the immediate knight to e3, author says. Fail to queen takes on e4, of course, this would leave us a pawn, and there is nothing we can do right now. We just blunder the pawn. We will not do that. So queen to d3 first. We prepare this move. Knight to e3, queen c8, and king to g2. A useful move just to stop queen to h3. Queen goes on e6, queen e2. Why queen e2? Why not knight to e3 immediately? Aha. Okay, so he wants to stop queen to g4. That's the idea. So you want to stop any kind of trouble with this queen. Bishop d8, and finally knight d5. His plan is fulfilled. Rook to c5. In case of bishop b6, rook to d3, followed by rook f3 with attacking prospects. Said this is, by the way, big game between Judith Polgard and Vishwanathan Anand. So this is a famous game. Both Judith and Vishwanathan are amazing players, legends of the chess game. So rook c5, okay. Queen to e3 played for white. White now slowly prepares a kingside attack, exploiting black's lack of counterplay. Okay. The game continued. Bishop e7, rook to d3, bishop d8, queen to d2, rook c6, queen to d1, king to g8, h4, king to g7. Preferable was h5, computer says, although after f3, king g7, queen to e2, followed by rook to d1, rook d1 to h1, and g3, g4 gives white the advantage. So white now simply plays for a winning attack here, since everything is blocked here on the queen side. Okay. By the way, what about a4? I believe if a4, you simply don't touch anything. Aha, in case of a4, this pawn is hanging, so yeah. Okay. So h5, bishop g5, queen f3, rook c8, rook d1, rook c6, queen e2, rook c8, rook h1, king goes on g8, f3, rook b8, queen f2, with the idea to go queen to g1 and queen h7. Also, another idea is to simply go queen to h7 and attack and harass this rook. Rook to b7, takes, or h takes on g6, of course, queen g1, f takes on g6, c5 here played in the position. A logical advance after f takes on g6 recapture, which left the black king more exposed towards the center. So now you want to expand on the other side, you don't want to force it. D takes on c5, queen takes on c5, sorry, bishop d8 and rook to c1. With the plan of rook to c4, queen to e3 to c1, to seize the c-file and enable rook c8, white has a clear plus and went on to win the game. So Judith Polgar won this game. Now we will see the practices here. Now we will do this... Now we will do the exercise of our own. So let's see, to prevent the black pawn structure. So we want to go knight to c2, then knight to e3, then rook to d1, then put this knight on e5. So in order to start, we have to go with c3. Yeah, that's obvious, c3. He goes there, we go c4, we don't want to allow the change of structure. He goes g6, we go g3. I don't know why g3, but okay. He wants to offer a trade, we don't want to trade. We go knight to c2. Queen to d3, we prepare this knight to e3 move to protect the pawn, and after knight to e3, we go king g2 to protect the queen from invading, and after queen to e2, we go queen e2 again to protect this invasion, and now we can finally plant this knight on d5. Okay, so we wanna put this knight on the d5 square, so we have to go for c3 first. We don't wanna take this. Now g6. Now for some reason we play g3. For some reason Judith Polgard played, I don't know why. He goes there, we go rook to d1, we go knight to c2, we go queen to e3 to protect this pawn. He goes there, we go knight to e3. He goes there, we want to protect with king to g2. Now we want to go back to protect the g4 before we plant our knight. And we are ready to plant our knight. Okay, so we go c3 first. We go c4 because our idea is to plant the knight. We go knight to c2. Let me just see. No, we first go g3 now. We don't want to trade. We go rook to d1. We go knight to c2. We cannot play a knight to d3. We have to go queen to e3 first to prepare to protect. Now we go knight to e3. Queen goes back, wants to go here. We block it with king. Queen goes there. He still wants to take this, so we play queen to e2. And after bishop d8, we are ready to take this with our knight. So that's how this is. Actually played. Okay, really nice positional play by Judith Polgar. Wonderful. So we have another. We will finish with this one. We have another Kasparov game. Kasparov against Pickett in Tilburg, 1997. He played here. In exchange for the pawn, white has a lead in development. Okay, black has a pawn up. White has a better development. Kasparov now seizes the initiative by means of a strong knight maneuver. He plays knight f to d2 with the idea to go knight to e4. We have a castle. We have knight to e4. Bishop e7, and now bishop to g3. For some reason he doesn't trade. If bishop takes on e7, queen takes on e7, white can't go knight e to d6 due to knight takes on e5. Knight b7, knight takes on c4, bishop takes on c4, and queen b7. So yeah, this you cannot play. So bishop e7, you cannot take this bishop. Bishop g3, important move. Queen goes on d8, and now knight c takes on d6 or goes on d6 with the idea to go rook to c5 or just simply knight to c5. Knight goes on a5. Okay, he attacks our bishop. Bishop c2. Okay, that's interesting. I would play bishop. No, actually, that's right. This is a much better move. Bishop preparing queen to d3 with the queen with the kingside attack. We have b3, bishop b1, queen b6 here, queen d3. We have g6 to stop this, and we have a knight to c5. Wow, with so many threats here on the board. One of the threats is knight to d2, another is to take this pawn on e6, and this is already crumbling. Bishop c8, h4 for Kasparov. He wants to open up the position here. Of course, you cannot go for g5 because queen h2 is a checkmate, and knight to c6 here. White is also much better after h5 because after queen takes on d4, knight c6, and queen e4. But now he wins on the spot. Okay. Yeah. Still the same threat appears. We have to sacrifice this pawn, and this is too difficult for black. So knight to c6 was played. a5. An ingenious intermediate move to deflect the black pieces from the kingside defense. In contrast, the immediate h5 permitted knight takes on e5 after bishop takes on d6 with unnecessary complications. So a5, crucial move here for Kasparov. If knight takes on a5, then h5 with an irresistible attack. So the point is that this pawn is no longer attacked, but after queen takes on a5, we have knight takes on f7. Now this pawn here is protected. Rook takes on f7, queen g6 check, king f8. If rook g7, then queen e8 check, bishop f8, and queen takes on c6, wins this game. So obviously a complete devastation of the position. Queen g6 check, king f8, knight takes on e6 check, bishop takes, rook takes. Wow, that's a nice move. So bishop takes. So we take the pawn, bishop takes, and now he takes, a rook takes on c6. Bishop d7, and now queen takes on h6 check. Black resigned in the view of king to e8, e6. Bishop takes e6, e takes on f7 with a check, king d7, and bishop f5. And here, wow, this is a checkmate. Wow, this is incredible. Incredible play by Kasparov. Kasparov was truly a genius. Because after bishop f5, he must go to the back rank. Let me just check here. Let me see. Yeah, he has to go king d8, queen h8 check, bishop f8, and queen takes on f8, bishop e8 is a must, and f takes on e8 with a queen promotion is a checkmate. Incredible. Incredible Garry Kasparov move. He was truly a legend of this game. What a beautiful win. This is an incredible. Let's continue now. Let's solve this, and this will be the end of today's stream. Let's continue. So in exchange for pawn, okay, we know. So Kasparov goes knight f to d2 with the idea to go for knight e4. Okay. He goes there. He goes there. Bishop g3. Okay. b6, bishop b1. Queen b6, queen to d3. So now at f to d2 with the idea to go knight e3. Let's go knight e3. We go bishop g3. We go knight there. Knight goes here. We go bishop c2. He pushes. We go bishop b1. He goes there. We go queen to d3 to create a checkmating threat. So once again, we want to exploit this square. We go here. We go here. He wants to offer an exchange. We don't want to do that. We want to keep this bishop. And now we go knight c to d4 to d6. He attacks our bishop. We go with our bishop there. We go bishop b1. And now we go queen to d3. This is the first part of this position. Now let's continue. He goes b6. Now we go knight c5. He defends. We go for h5. Okay. He goes back. We go for a5. We sacrifice. The idea is to go for knight to f7. Queen takes on g6. Knight takes on e6. We go rook takes on c6. We give this check. So let's continue again. We go knight to c5. He goes there. We go h4. He goes there. We wanna move his pieces. After this, we can go for this sacrifice. We go queen takes on g6. We go knight takes on e6 check. Instead of picking up, we pick up this knight. We go queen takes on h6 check. Okay. So knight c5 first. Rook, bishop d8. We go h4. We go h5. We go knight takes on f7. Queen takes on g6 check. Knight picks up on e6. Bishop takes on c6. Queen takes on h6 with a check. And this is how Kasparov won. So as we mentioned, this is the winning sequence, and bishop f5 with a checkmate in 3 moves. Okay, wow, we had some nice positions today. Thank you so much for joining. I will be ending the stream right now. I really appreciate all of you who joined. I wish you a pleasant night because it's night here in Serbia, or a pleasant day. Thank you so much for joining, and I wish you a pleasant day or night. Thank you so much, guys. Bye bye.